Police reform. We're used to police officers swaggering around, belt, gun. We have SWAT teams now, paramilitarization. And it's all because police officers say, we're afraid. So there was a Supreme Court decision, Graham versus McConnell, that said police officers can use lethal force if they can articulate that they were afraid. And police officers, even when they make a mistake, have become very comfortable saying, oh, I was afraid. You see the size of that guy? Holy smokes. He was huge, he was older, he was darker. You look at Trayvon Martin. Trayvon Martin wasn't even killed by a cop. He was killed by a guy that no police agency would hire for any reason. Tamir Rice. The person that killed Tamir Rice was actually not the officer that fired the round. It was the officer who was training him that pulled up right on top of him. So when the reporter, the officer on the passenger side, got out, he had no options. He had no time to assess what the situation was. A standard tactical deployment is 45 feet away and walk up on the situation. Nobody was charged. Nobody's been held accountable. We have a county attorney here in Maricopa County who simply will not charge a police officer unless it is the most obvious of offenses. Sean Pierce is the son of Russell Pierce of Essington Kennedy fame. He was driving 81 miles an hour in an unmarked vehicle that had no safety beacons, no siren, T-boned a Hispanic man and killed him. And Montgomery declined prosecution. Anybody else in this room would be sitting in prison right now for doing that. Arizona law is very, very clear. Police officers may exceed the speed limit if they have emergency meetings and a siren going. They're not, otherwise, they are bound by the traffic code just like anybody else. Montgomery said there's no reasonable likelihood of conviction. Of course there isn't. He never presented the case to a grand jury, and he never instructed them on what the law was. Of course there's no possibility of prosecution. You acted as a defense attorney. We saw the same thing in Ferguson. The prosecutor in Ferguson relied upon Graham versus O'Connor to say that that officer was afraid for his life. That Blake Brown reached inside of the vehicle and somehow released the officer's weapon. It's not possible. It just isn't possible. I'm going to borrow Reginald for a second. Here, sit this chair real quick. Imagine I'm Mike Brown reaching in the window of the vehicle. The officer's weapon is on this side of his body in what's called a retention holster. There's a button on the inside of the holster that you have to push down with your thumb in order to pull the gun out. Circle Blackhawk level 2 holster. So if I'm Mike Brown reaching across his body, please explain to me how I'm pulling the gun out of his holster. Unless Mike Brown has a couple of extra joints in his arm, it can't happen. Aaron Wilson lied. They let him lie. Until we start holding elected officials accountable for allowing, we have to tell these elected officials, we don't like the rules. Yes, Graham versus O'Connor is the law. You can change the standard and the policy. Here in Phoenix, right after the first of the year, a man named Lonnie Neeson had the cheese slide off his cracker. He goes to the Captain's Park police precinct and starts throwing rocks. He throws one rock, it hits a police taco driven by Sergeant Rivers. Sergeant Rivers drove down the street a little bit, turned around, called for help. Officer Emilio Rodriguez is eating his lunch inside the Cactus Park precinct. He's the only other officer there. He runs out and confronts the guy who's throwing rocks. One throws a rock, it bounces off the wall, hit Rodriguez in the shoulder. Rodriguez started the clock, hit him in the face, dead. Sergeant Ritter sat there and watched the whole thing. That is going to be found to be an in-policy shooting. The problem is the policy. The problem is the way we let police do things. There was nothing at all wrong with Officer Rodriguez staying inside the armored police station while Lonnie Eason threw rocks until his arm got tight. He was doing property damage. We allow officers to enlarge and escalate situations. Michelle Cusseau was waving a hammer around behind a locked steel security door. The officers were talking to her, she's waving the hammer around. They had an officer pick the lock, open the door, and Percy Dubruck shot her in the throat. He was demoted. He's working in Maryvale tonight. When I talked to Chief Yonner, he said, I went ahead and I put that officer in a place where he's going to have a body camera on. Fair enough. There was a shooting 2 days ago. I-10 in McDowell, 75th Avenue in McDowell. 2 officers, body cameras on, neither one of them turned the cameras on. Stolen car. There's a helicopter overhead. The officers enlarged and escalated the situation until they could kill it. So if we're going to change this situation, we're going to need to tell our elected officials we want different policies. And if our elected officials aren't going to change those policies, we need new elected officials. I really appreciate you listening, and I turn it over to